Hey everybody, welcome to Reverse Homesteading. Thought I would show you how to make your own DIY trellis. It's one that you can put in the compost bin when you're done with it, or you can try to string it out for another season. I didn't even mean to say that pun. It is a string trellis, and it will look somewhat like this one. So pretty basic, really good for peas, which is what I'm using it for at the moment, peas and beans. Things that grow quickly. You don't have to spend a lot of money on a big metal trellis, cattle panel as they say in the US, or sadly you can't get those here in Australia. But yes, we have kind of similar things here, although they seem to be too strong if they're Rio netting, well, not even netting, but you know what I mean, Rio mesh, or if there are dog panels or puppy fences, and they just bend up so quickly. Anyway, hopefully I'll find something before I need my tomatoes, but for now, for winter, it's for peas and beans. Not so much beans, but peas, things that are fairly frost hardy, kind of. They'll be under a net. So anywho, this is relatively easy if you have the time and the patience. What I usually start with is the horizontals. So it's very good to have all of your things ready, including some sort of beverage. Everything measured out. I measure things, I sew as well, so I tend to measure things by just putting them up against something. But you can measure them exactly if you like. So I start with horizontals. Peas grow pretty quickly at the beginning, so they can be shorter together, then a bit longer and a bit longer. If you look hard at the ones in the shops, they are a little bit like that as well if they're sold as a trellis, but you can do it any way you want because it's yours. So these ones have to be kind of strong, so I do a double knot. You can do any kind of knot you want. But I just wanted to show you how I do the sides. I leave a bit of string at the end here. Of course, it'll weather with the rest of it. But if you put it up and then you find it's a little bit saggy before you put the vertical parts on, all you need to do, and the good thing is to have the knot on the same side as it goes away from the post. So over time, it will sort of like slowly swing around to there anyway. But what you can do, if it's a little bit saggy, this one's a little bit saggy, before you put the verticals on, you pull the knot round to the other side. Fantastic, you've got it straight. And the reason why I only put one trellis per garden bed, and I don't run it the entire way up across all of the garden beds, is I've learned by experience that if you just do it per bed, you only have to adjust 2 spans, because you've got 3 posts, at least in this size, 3 posts and 2 spans. So then you can do the same thing on this side if this is saggy as well. So turn the knot around the other way, and then you use this extra to tie the knot again. And then you've got a very straight thing. So I'll do that on this saggy top one as well. So just turn the knot around, sometimes a couple of times, tie another knot, very hard with one hand, but you can see that's straight now. So then you just need to go up to the other end where you've got spare twine, turn this knot around, maybe even put the string around if you've got enough, tie it again, and you've even got more for next time it gets a bit saggy. It's harder to adjust once the verticals are on, but that's the next thing we will do. So over here, I've got some verticals ready to go, if I don't trip on my Christmas lights. These things, oh my goodness, I think I'll have to put a longer one on here. I think these posts are a little bit shorter because they've gone into the ground lower. So even though all of these are the same length, this particular one keeps popping off because this is a bit shorter because it's further down into the ground, but I'm happy for it to be a little bit more solid in the ground. So I don't think my tripod is going to allow me to show you exactly how to do it, but I will try. So I have noticed that if you start at the bottom with a knot to go on the vertical ones, so you tie a knot here, 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 at all of the intersections, and then for the next one along in whichever direction, you start at the top and then you tie it down. and then you tie it up and tie it down, and you end up, this is not a great example, but you end up with a straighter mesh because you're sort of pulling in the other direction. So yeah, so pull this around. I just do a simple knot, I don't do a double knot. I've just put these here as I went along so that you can space them. Forgot to tell you about that bit. So if you don't quite like the spacing, you can just shift the knot along the top before you start. So we'll just grab this one off, and I'll try to do it with one hand. If I had two hands, I would be holding, hang on, I will try two-handed, otherwise it'll be a little pointless, won't it? So if you hold this one, go round, pull the end through, and while you're holding that, hold the knot and try to hold this one straight. Once you get the hang of it, it'll actually be quite relaxing. I find it quite relaxing. So just keep going up like that. Then when you get to the next one along, you're going down. So you go from here, and this, if this one were done already, it would be holding this already. And then you'd be going to do the same thing, but going down. And yeah, up, down, and then you'll end up with something like that. I'm sure your peas and beans won't mind if it's not perfect. I try to use the garden to help myself not be such a perfectionist, so you can see, here's an example. Anyway, once it's covered with plants, you won't be able to tell. And yeah, if it's not perfect, doesn't matter. You did it yourself and it's compostable. You can even leave the old peas on there and chuck the whole thing in the compost. Just cut it off and try again next season. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having fun in the garden. See you soon.